This is the Nerd Out Podcast, starring JB and Laren. Yes, that's right, folks. We now have a name to our actual podcast. That is, if you watch the intro, which you should, this is now the Nerd Out Podcast, hosted by JB and
Laren. Hi. Also, I feel like we missed a slight opportunity for a joke where we could have said that we finally have a name to our name.
Yes, the podcast was nice while it lasted.
Yes, indeed. Farewell, the podcast.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about a couple things. It's going to be a pretty packed kind of episode here. We've got the newest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Level 5 Transporter Accident. I just want to make sure it wasn't an incident. And we're going to talk about the pilot of course, the Green Lantern show, which we both have some thoughts about.
Indeed. This will be our first superhero media related discussion on the show. We've mostly talked about Star Trek and like a little bit of Star Wars. Actually, the idea for this podcast came from us yapping about Star Wars, and a friend of ours suggested that we should do this. But we are both pretty big superhero fans, so this is probably going to become a more regular thing. We're definitely going to be covering Lanterns as it comes out. Obviously double featuring with Strange Worlds episodes for as long as Strange Worlds Season 4 goes on. And then maybe we'll switch to just covering Lanterns for our main show, or maybe we'll add on some other stuff. Stay tuned. So yeah, this is definitely a bit of a change up. Regarding Strange Worlds episode, I get why the episode is titled Accident, because that's usually what people say, right? Transporter accident. But it feels like it could have been called Incident. I don't know. This is a very minor thing, but I get why you got confused.
Yeah. I did check IMDb to make sure I am. We'll talk about some of that in a minute because there's some oddities I want to point out.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
For one, we'll talk about the IMDb weirdness once we get to the episode proper. After we talk about those, we'll have a little bit of news. We got some news to talk about. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff.
Yeah.
And some interesting stuff about how the sausage is made in the comic book industry.
Oh, right.
All right. So let's talk about the Level 5 Transporter Accidents. Episode 5 of Strange New Worlds. Huh. Do you think they did it on purpose?
5. Thank you. I could not remember if this was 5 or 6. Oh, that is funny. Yeah. Level 5, Episode 5. That's a funny little thing that happened.
This was directed by Jordan Canning and written by Henry Alonzo Myers and Dana Horgan. And Henry Alonzo Myers was one of the writers of 4.5 Vulcans.
Oh no. Well, in a way, he's a good person for this, but in some ways he's not. Okay, so this episode I'm gonna say right away, well, there is Vulcan stuff. It is a Spock episode, and I guess you could in a way classify it as the true wacky Spock episode of this season. But it's not, how do I explain it? It's not about Spock issues to the point that it slips into the weird biocentrism stuff.
Right.
I will say that right off the bat. This episode does not have that problem. So it would be weird, honestly, if the fucking puppet episode was eugenicsy. That would suck.
That would be very weird. Okay, I'm going to give a brief little summary here. A transporter malfunction turns most of the crew into puppets while Spock fights to reclaim the ship. Otherwise, welcome to the Muppet Show, starring Mr.
Spock. Yes. Should we start with should we go right to spoilers? Or should we start with the twist?
Let's get to the spoilers in a minute. First,
okay.
What did you think of the episode?
I liked it. It was not especially consequential. It is definitely one you can skip on a rewatch if you want to. But it was fun. It was silly. It was the right amount of like light silliness that I would have wanted this episode to be. I would not have wanted this episode to substantially try to be anything more than like a bit of fun for an hour, and I think it was a bit of fun for an hour. I think they pulled it off. It was cute. There was a little bit of character stuff here and there. It was slightly deeper than purely hijinks. Not much deeper, but like there was a little bit, some things that we can talk about. A few small character moments. So it was nice at least, but it was mostly silly zany slapstick fun, and I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did because I thought that I was very burnt out of this show's hijinks episodes because I do think the show, especially for the amount of episodes that they have per season as a streaming show, has kind of overdone the hijinks thing, and it has
Mm-hmm.
become an aspect of the show that has become very annoying.
Right.
Um, but this one didn't really bother me. This was fine. Um, I don't even if not for the ending, I don't think it would have bothered me because it would have been very easy to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then they never mention it again. This like they do so many times in the other Star Trek shows. So, yeah, I thought it was fun.
My opinion is this is better than Rascals, even though it's more stupid than Rascals, purely for the
Yes,
twist at the end.
yes. The premise is eerily similar to the TNG episode Rascals, where a portion of the crew, in this case most of it, is turned into more diminutive, less physically capable forms. Children in that episode, puppets in this one, and then raiders take over the ship, and then they have to be fought off
I, I,
through a
I,
little bit of a
I
little bit
think
of
the
hijinks.
I think the key difference is in this episode it's played for purely comedy, where in Rascals they really try to make it very serious, which
Oh, I don't know how serious. Like, well, I it depends. I think the character emotion stuff in Rascals is serious, especially the character bits for Ro and the role that Guinan plays and sort of helping her through her character arc. But I never took the part with the Ferengi in the Stolen Bird of Prey taking over the ship as like something that we were meant to take all that seriously. I thought that was like the
I
characters were taking
I
it
think
like
okay, let's put it this
seriously
way.
enough to not look like morons, but I think it was meant.
Let's
I thought
put
that
it
was meant to
this
be
way.
silly.
If it was a DS9 episode, I wouldn't think much of it because it's a TNG episode, and TNG takes itself the most seriously of the TNG era shows. It kind of feels weirdly out of
I
praise.
I still thought it was a like yes, if it was DS9, it would be a little bit more obvious that it was a comedic episode, but I still took it as one, even if TNG overall doesn't really do that. So I can like let go a lot of like how stupid it is the way that the Ferengi take over. Like I can let that shit go because the episode is ultimately a bit of fun mixed with a little bit of character momentum, a little bit of character development. Um,
Okay,
Again, mostly for Ro, a little bit for the others.
see, I would kind of like roll my eyes at this episode if not for the ending. And spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. Used to read What Up magazine. Anyway, sorry. No more Biggie lyrics for now.
Oh, that's a Biggie lyric. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
I'll send it to you later.
I thought you're a West Coast fan, right?
I'll send you the song later. Um, Sorry. I had to do it. I had to. But yes, it turns out that it was a weird dream that Spock was having, and that none of it actually happened. Personally, I think the situation wraps up cleanly enough that if it had been real, it could have just been one of those, and then they never mentioned it again things, and that like it being canon wouldn't matter. Um,
There are so many we would never
um,
mention this again things in Star Trek.
right, exactly. There were certainly some people who would get mad if it was canon, but I don't really care about the opinions of those people.
Well, I could
It's like
say
really.
there's I would say judging by the IMDb score, it comes at a 4.8, which is the lowest out of any episode
Ouch.
of this show.
Ouch.
It seems like this episode is divisive among fans, to
I
say the
I I
least.
th- I can get why. I could very much see. I enjoyed this episode. It was actually surprising. In general, I think this season's hijinks episodes have been a lot more likable than the ones in like season three.
Right.
Um, I think they've been a lot more enjoyable and a lot less annoying. I will say they do kind of slow down any like dramatic momentum that the show tries to build up But to be fair, this season doesn't have an ongoing season-long story arc.
Right.
It has season-long character stuff, but I don't think that being interrupted for hijinks is as bad as if like Gorn are the Gorn are gonna
Right.
destroy the Federation. Why the fuck are you getting drunk on vacay planet? Or something like that. I mean, I'm using the Gorn thing as an example because that was the ongoing plot for the first two seasons.
Right.
But yeah. Um,
It'd be so funny if they tried to stuff a ongoing thing like right at the end. That'd be hilarious.
yeah, I think it would be really hard to do an ongoing plot in this season because I think this is the most episodic season of Stranger Worlds
Yeah,
so far.
I think it's even more episodic than season one.
I agree, and more than and season three. I think, to be fair, I think this season kind of shows maybe why season three was the way that it was a little bit because I felt like season three was kind of transitioning into being more like this season, but it wasn't all the way there, and that might be why that one feels so uneven. But I don't know.
There had to be some writers' room fuck up in season three. There had to be something that had to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's no
Because
way they
this
planned
is still
that.
right, this is still I would say overall. I'm saying I don't this season I don't think is as good as the first two. Even with the problems that I have with mostly late season two.
Right.
Um,
To be fair,
um,
basically yes, it's better than season three, but like anything can be better than
yes,
season three. The only thing not
yes,
better
this
than
is true. This
starts
is
than
true.
season three is season three of Picard,
Right. So
which
so
we may talk about someday. Who knows?
someday. What was I gonna say? Sorry. Okay. The point I was trying to make was forgive me if I'm repeating myself. I could see this episode for the people who don't like it to say something to those negative scores. I could see this episode being the straw that breaks the camel's back for this show doing hijinks episodes. I could see
Right.
this one being that's it. I'm done. I'm tired of them doing silly shit too many
Season,
times.
well,
Um,
season five is already in the can, so there's no correcting this one. You're already in the can.
right. There's no really core scratching, but I could see this being the last straw for some people in this show's hijinks episodes, and them just rejecting it because they're tired of the show being goofy. I can also see, in a less charitable way, I can also see overly self-serious Star Trek fans not liking this. Um, but I don't really care.
My
And
problem is there's only 10 episodes per season. That's my problem.
yes, yes.
If this was 25
My
episodes, I would not care. But
yes. My other problem is that much like what was the other one? What was the drunk planet one called?
I forgot what that was
Fuck.
called. Let me
I remember
look.
what it's called. But the other silly episode, right? This one is kind of empty calories like that one was, and there's like a little bit of character stuff to try to give it some reason to exist other than the
Human best friend.
spectacle.
Human best friend.
Human best friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This one is about as much empty calories ultimately, I think, as human best friend, and much like
Right.
where that one we got delayed and ended up doing a twofer. This one, I think, having Winter's episode one to also do helps us out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. This is a very
Right.
empty. Like,
Right.
okay, so we made the comparison to Rascals earlier. Rascals is a comedy episode, or at least I see it as such. It still has some fairly deep characterization for Roe, and to an extent a little bit like Guinan and Picard, and even a little bit Keiko as well. That kind of gives it more of a reason to exist, beyond just the silliness of it, beyond just watching the premise be executed. This and Human Best Friend, I think, both run into a similar issue of the episodes mostly being about they have a premise, just sit down and watch the premise be executed. Um, and yeah, so there's just not a lot of meat to it. Fine, it's fun, but Star Trek has done episodes that are silly and comedic and hijinksy, but also like have some degree of character stuff, some
Right.
heartwarming moments and whatnot. Like I would even argue that like I consider you will disagree with me on this. I would even consider like Move Along Home more valuable than this, because there are like there is some early characterization of each of the crew, or I guess cast, because it's DS9 in that episode that I think is valuable. There's an early showing that Quark might care about something other than money, with how concerned he is
Right.
about potential for the others dying. There's some stuff of Cisco being great with kids, with how he reacts to like the little
Right.
girl. There's Kira's lack of preparedness for wacky TOS style situations the Starfleet officers are going to be more prepared for than she is. There's stuff there, and this episode has a little bit more Spock grappling with his logic emotions thing, which we've seen 1,000 times. Um, a little bit of T'Pring starting to become a little bit more accepting of Spock again, which I think is the
Uh-huh.
most is probably the biggest thing that this episode contributes in terms of forward momentum for the series. Is T'Pring starting to become more accepting of Spock again, which is probably going to lead
Right.
towards them at least partially resuming their relationship, so that Amok time still makes any fucking sense at all. Um,
I tell you what, when Paramount has their their next like big like Star Trek production, those puppets are gonna go for some big money. Because you have like a Muppet version of Captain Pike or a puppet version of Uhura. Like those things are gonna
right,
go crazy soon.
right. I
Oh,
would be
and by
surprised
the
if they
way,
don't
this
sell
is this is a
merch.
warning to anybody listening. We compare stuff to DS9 a lot because we like DS9, so you're gonna hear a lot about DS9,
Yes,
even when something has nothing to do
yes.
with DS9.
We will do it. It's true. It's true. Or we'll bring up TNG because it's sort of like we like it, and it's like the baseline Star Trek
Right,
show.
right, right. I think it's
I
like the baseline, even more than
but
TOS.
okay.
I think it is the baseline.
I was speaking of TOS. I wanted to bring up TOS actually because
Uh,
I think this episode and Human Best Friend are a little bit more comparable, not to hijinks episodes from TNG, DS9, and Voyager, but more to hijinks episodes from TOS. Like these episodes, I think, are a little bit more like the Trouble with Tribbles or I Mud, like
or
those kind of hijinks
or
episodes.
like shore leave.
Right, where it's mostly just the characters in a situation doing stuff. There's a little bit of characterization, but that's not the most important thing.
But yeah, the okay, let's talk about the puppets. What do you think about the Muppets? I'll be sorry, they're called puppets, not Muppets, because that's trademarked.
Right. They have to call them puppets for copyright. I think the puppets are well done. I think they look good. I think they convey each of the characters well. Some of them I feel like they could have caricatured, I guess,
Right, right,
the actors like this is a little bit more. Most of them are kind of generic human Muppet.
right,
If you've seen
right.
a Muppet that is a
Which
human rather than an animal, you know what I
which
mean?
that guy that the newest Muppets cast member for like that Muppets new movie that happened like 20 years ago. Why the fuck am I saying that's new? That was a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Yes,
They
yes.
look like
The
they look
guy
like
from
that
Muppets.
guy. Yeah, they look like
Yes,
that
they
guy.
look like the guy from Muppets 2011. Exactly, that
Yeah.
kid. I forget what his character's name was, but yes, I know what you're talking about. I really like that movie. It's not the best Muppet movie, but
I
I
liked
actually
it.
like
It's
that one.
not the best.
Anyway.
I do like the original Muppet movie. Like I love the original Muppet movie. Anyways, as somebody who knows a lot about the history of Muppets, I respect the craftsmanship and tech it takes to make a Muppet because Muppets are
I
very hard to
agree.
get
I love
right.
the craft of puppets. I really like that that Star Trek has stuck so close to practical effects for conveying characters. Obviously, alien makeup and all of that, and
Right,
also
right, right.
doing the puppets. I mean, obviously there would be like this is a live action show. It would be weird if the puppets were not physical puppets. But
I
nonetheless I appreciate that they
am
are.
really glad that Star Trek is mostly stuck to physical props in
I
this
agree.
era. In this era where
One thing I
CGI has gotten so much better, they have not
right.
used it as much as like late Voyager
I
Enterprise did.
I like that CGI is reserved for the spaceships.
Right,
I think
right.
that's about where it should be, because when they introduced CGI back in the Berman era, that's when a lot of the Starship action scenes got a lot more intricate and complicated, and
Right,
you got to
right,
see a lot more fancy flying. As much as cool and impressive as those physical models are, the CGI models just let you do so much more, and that is how we got some of the best fights of the Dominion War, some of the best action scenes of Voyager, a lot of the NX-01's action in Enterprise, and that has
right.
only gotten better and better and better with this show, which I would say is
I
still
would
about on par with
I would
the CGI
say
in
the
Discovery.
the Berman era was at its worst when it tried to make characters out of CGI. It
Yes,
didn't really work. Like, remember the Gorn?
yes.
Everyone remembers the Gorn.
The Gorn and Inamir Darkly does not look great. The only time I will give them a little bit of a pass is the Changelings, because I think them being not
Right.
very good CGI adds
It-
to them
yeah,
being
yeah,
uncanny
uncanny.
and
Yeah, yeah,
inhuman and weird.
because by definition they are uncanny to changelings.
Right. Like their goo being kind of bad 90s CGI works for them in a weird way. I would also say it almost works for Species 8472 and Voyager. It almost adds a layer to how alien and outside they are,
Oh
but
my god.
it's not
Okay,
quite,
okay,
not quite.
okay. The CGI does get better over time, but man, for Scorpion, that sucked. Scorpion, it's
Yeah, yeah.
like, oh man, I almost no, I don't believe that there's something there. Anyways, the Muppet designs are kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I think that Una and Leon are probably like the least creative Muppets because they just are like,
at least interesting. Yeah, Ahura is also, I think, fairly basic,
oh,
but
and of
she's fun.
course, Ortegas is also like.
Yeah, Ortegas is also a more basic one.
I think it
T'Pring,
helps. I think it helps if there's a prominent body part that they can exaggerate in Muppet form, like with Spock.
yes.
With like T'Pring, it's her ears. With Pike, it's his like forehead and his hair.
Right. With T'Pring, it's also her eyebrows. They make her look so angry as a
Right,
puppet.
right. I
She's
do
so
like how they.
mad.
I do like how they shaped Mbenga's head. That's a good one. It reminds me of like
Yeah.
Grover or like Elmo like head
Grover, yes,
shape.
I see it. Also, he's kind
Yeah.
of got these sort of tired eyes,
Right. It's a
which I
very
think
good
is a
design on
funny.
him. It's unfortunate
It's a
that
good one. It's
Una
a good one.
and Leon are like Una,
Yeah.
Leon, Ortegas, and um um what can I say?
Her?
Like, yeah, her are like the weakest ones. That's very
Yeah,
unfortunate.
they're the most stock Muppet
I
designs.
I
I think the standout.
strangely I strangely do like Chapel, even though she is generally humanoid. They do a very good
Right.
job with her. Like
Yeah, she's good.
her nose especially is different from the other noses. It's like really small.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think the standout is the puppet version of Pelia. She's so
Oh my
scrungly.
gosh. She looks like one of the crazy background Muppets in like the original Muppet Show.
Right.
And of course we got unnamed red shirt who is you notice he never speaks. He only makes like
Yes.
he makes beaker noises.
Yeah. Oh no. I think it was the puppet version of the bartender that was making the beaker noises. But the red shirt doesn't say very much either. He sticks out a lot because he's not Mitchell.
I don't
It's
know.
very obvious.
Maybe Mitchell's actress couldn't be there that day.
Yeah, maybe she couldn't be there, which is fine. But I'm so used to her that it's
Yeah. Extra
still.
man. I am mighty
I
extra
know.
man. It's
I
funny
know.
that they didn't jump to try to fix the hole in his stomach as soon as they could. Like
Yeah. He just kind of got that from when he gets shot by by the Orions. The
to be
comedic violence, I think, is one of the best parts of the episode. I
right,
think
right.
that shit is really fun. Puppet Pelia getting sliced in half with a sword, and then she's fine because she's a puppet.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I going back to T'Pring, I do like how T'Pring's puppet looks. It reminds me of like Sam Eagle from the Muppets, where like the eyebrows are like make her look grumpy even when she's not supposed to be grumpy. It's like,
Right. Speaking of Sam the Eagle as a comparison, Puppet Pike has the look of the kind of puppet character that'll be a very
right,
exaggerated American
right,
guy,
right, right. Whenever
he's a
like
news
the
anchor or
Muppets need to
something.
have like a general like humanoid to like be the puppet news anchor. Puppet news anchor.
I know, very fun.
Like there is a way to not make humanoid puppets like generic. Like Stanley and Waldorf, you know exactly what they look like, even though they're just humans.
Right.
I just think they could exaggerate it a little bit more for the four of them,
I agree.
because they look pretty play. Pella is crazy. Her puppet is.
Hair's like partially transparent, like these little like rubber noodles. Another thing I really appreciate about the effects work on the episode is that they do a lot of like full body sequences of the puppets.
Right, which is
Which, if
very
you've ever
hard.
seen like a
With yeah,
right,
Muppet,
right, if you've ever seen like a
if
traditional Jim Henson production, like they
yeah,
didn't do that a lot. Like it was like that scene in the original Muppet movie where Kermit and Fozzie are dancing on stage and you can see their full bodies. Like that was a big deal back then.
I know. That was like I assume they enhanced that a little bit with CGI. They may have like painted over some of the stuff that was like holding the puppets up or something. Because you can tell
Yeah.
it's not like a CGI model of a puppet. I think they just got out the like person holding the puppet or the strings or whatever.
Right, they digitally hid the puppeteer and the wires and all that.
Which to me is how CGI should be used in movies.
I agree. I actually, because this is something I know a little bit about, at least the amateur version of this from like YouTube stuff. But I assume this episode was made in a very similar way to stop motion animation, especially modern stop motion animation.
Right.
Like I'm a Transformers fan, and a lot like it's like making stop motion animation with the toys as the characters is a very popular thing to do in the Transformers fandom and
I bet,
the
yeah.
YouTube section of the Transformers fandom. So I've seen like some behind the scenes stuff, and I know a little bit about how
Oh
that
my
sort of thing is
gosh.
done. And
Yeah.
there was one scene where Pike like stands up in a chair that I thought might have been straight up just stop motion without any
Maybe.
puppeteering,
Maybe.
but I'm not
Because
sure.
Jim Henson stuff used to do that too. They used to combine stop motion with puppetry.
Right. But yeah, so like
Especially
they
the
show their full
movies.
body.
Especially the
Mhm.
movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do show their full
Um,
bodies a few times, which is interesting.
oh yeah, right. Because the movies have more budget, but yeah, there's a lot more like full body and like their legs and stuff than I would expect in like a traditional Muppet production. It probably helps that they're only doing this once and that this is not full
Right.
show like the Muppet Show or Fraggle Rock or something.
I gotta
Um,
admit, this was really impressive. I think that
yeah,
probably like half the budget for the season win this episode.
I could see it honestly. The joke I made was when we were watching it was that one because the transporter effect takes like it beams like it like spreads to everyone, starts beaming them to turn them into puppets, and then it takes over the whole ship and the whole ship like beams out and then comes back. I kind of wish the ship had turned
Uh,
into like a giant plushie of itself.
they probably could
um
not afford that. They probably could not afford
that's
doing that.
totally fair. Speaking of ships, we get a surprise return from Star Trek Enterprise that I was very happy to see.
Oh,
The
right, the
Orion
Orion.
Interceptor.
Right.
It looks so good. The way it's like, I think it's bigger than the Enterprise one. It's like the way it like looms on the view screen. It reminds me of like a Romulan
Yeah,
Daenerys
yeah.
warbird. Like
It very much reminded me of a Daenerys in its shape. It's like,
yeah, but it's very true to the original Enterprise design if you look carefully at it. I think I saw the artist for it post a picture of it on Blue Sky. It's a fantastic looking
uh-huh.
ship. It's really cool to see that design again. I really like that ship design for the Orions. The Starship Nerd in me is very happy. On a smaller note, it kind of creates this interesting dichotomy that I've noticed where Lower Decks used like the animated series style of Orion ships, and then this obviously as a live action show is doing like the Enterprise style of Orion ship with the
Right.
Interceptor. So that's kind of a fun like disparity between the
Well,
two. The outfit.
probably because that's
Hmm,
probably like one of the only depictions of an Orion ship in live action. Since the Orions do not show up at all
true.
for the whole TNG era.
Right. Right. And like even in TOS, they're very limited. Like one of the only Orions in TOS is disguised as an Andorian for the entire episode.
Right. So we don't actually see
And
many
then
Orion ships in the franchise, except for like
I think there are
STO. We
Orion.
we
Hmm,
we see a
Right.
lot of STO Orion ships.
Right. I think there are Orion ships in Journey to Babel, but like they're like the characters talk about them. There's never like a
Right,
outside the ship, like an external shot to show them.
right.
Um,
It's a
speaking of
trust me,
speaking of
bro. The Orions are here.
speaking of STO ships, there's something really cool. Like I want to tell you about a connection between STO and season 3 of Star Trek Picard, but it has
Uh
nothing
huh.
to do with the main topic of the
Yeah,
podcast. So I'll
sure.
get to it
Go it.
later.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Sure.
Want me to just do it right now? Okay.
Do it
So
right now.
this is unrelated. So some of the ships that Vadic's group are using in Picard season 3 are the Alachi ship models from Star Trek Online. And there's I think it's like on a screen or something, like behind the scenes stuff. They are Alachi ships. Like they there's like a little screen where they use the word Alachi. They were recovered by the Tal Shiar at some point, but they didn't get a hold of any of the crew, and then they kind of, with the Romulan Empire collapsing, they sort of changed hands a while until they were sold off to Vadic's group. So the tripod ships are canon. The name Alachi is canon. It's not been explicitly tied to the aliens from Silent Enemy yet, but yeah, I find that very interesting. They even kept the Romulan connection, the game's Romulan storyline, kind of. I like just found that out.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I did not
Mhm.
know that. That's really
I
interesting.
believe the main difference is that the lit parts on the ship are orange to fit with the aesthetic of Vadic's group rather than green like the Alachi ships in the game. So they don't. That might be why they don't immediately stick out.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Sort of like slightly draw them like the tiniest bit closer to the aesthetic of the Shrike without like changing much.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
let's talk about Spock in this episode. The only non-Muppet on board.
Mhm.
So, what was
Yes.
his arc for this episode? Like, I know there was a little bit of an arc.
Yes, I do think he has one. Mm.
Because I think the conclusion
Like
he
I said
comes to is
earlier,
that he doesn't.
part of the. Sorry, go ahead.
I think by the end he just really wants some seriousness back again because he seems like, oh, I want the logic
Yes.
stuff back now.
Yes, he wants his logic back. He feels exploring his human side hasn't worked out. There is something bigger from this episode that I
Oh,
almost forgot.
right. Of course, yeah.
La'an breaks up with him. It's very amicable. It's
Woo!
simple. I'm glad that it's over. I am definitely on the tired of the Spock romance nonsense side
Yeah.
of this show.
Uh huh.
I would be okay. The only further Spock romance I want is I will be fine with more Spurk baiting because it'll be funny, and I would be fine with them doing a little bit more with him and T'Pring to set up the resumption of their relationship for the sake of canon. Like that's
right.
fine. Um,
Right.
but I think that's also because like those are much more low key than how like overdone the Chapel stuff especially was, and then the Lana relationship coming right off the back of the Chapel stuff did not set a good
Right.
tone for it. And
Right.
I'm just kind of glad that it's over. I'm
Yeah.
glad that it was fairly amicable. Not quite as mutual as like, for instance, when Lita and Bashir broke up in DS9, Spock is clearly has some feelings about it, but
Right.
he's not bitter. He's not
Right.
being like, like a dick about it. He's just like a bit bummed out, I think.
Right.
A bit dejected, which is I think is a fair reaction for him to have.
Oh yeah, and also that Scott that horrible puppet Scotty had. Fucking
Yes, Scotty's horrible puppet, Little Ricky, which I really like the bit where Spock wakes up and he's like, "Why is the puppet here?" And then T'Pring just catches and like, "Oh, Little Ricky, yes, Mr. Scott thought it would cheer you up." I like the idea that T'Pring has been introduced to the puppet. I think it's funny.
yeah.
Scotty is funny in this episode. He gets his like little bits. Puppets. Oh my god, we didn't even talk about Puppet Scotty. God, he's hilarious. He invents this little like electric
Right.
glove so they can still their hand like the ship will recognize it as a handprint so they can operate the ship,
Right.
or than just asking Spock to do everything, which quickly overwhelms him. I don't want to talk about. There's an aspect of okay, hold on, and he like shocks himself a few times. And it's really funny. Okay, so an aspect of Spock's characterization I think is very interesting. This is Spock's like issues, I guess, are portrayed in a way like this is one of the most realistic takes on Spock that I've ever seen. Like this is a lot less Star Trek drama. Like he gets overstimulated. He has like panic attacks, kind of.
Right, which I'm interested to think maybe they might be doing more to that. You know how a lot of people see neurodiversity in Spock because I know
Yes, this is what we were thinking
overstimulated.
about.
I work in a film that has
Mm,
works with some people that are like neurodivergent. So I hear that a lot in my my line of work.
yes, and I I'm neurodivergent.
I am too. I'm
Yeah.
too.
Oh yes. I'm so sorry.
I think that might be
Um,
them intentionally trying to draw the parallel instead of
yes,
doing it by
because
accident.
yes, they started making Spock like textually in universe neurodivergent when they established that he had like a Vulcan equivalent to dyslexia in Discovery season 2. Um, and then this feels like them doing a little bit more with that, and I'm happy to see that because we are now in an era where Star Trek can do characters that are neurodivergent on
Right,
purpose,
right,
not just
right.
not
Well,
just the outsider as a dramatic.
and do it
They can
well, of course.
do it well. That's what I'm talking about. Right, right. That's what I was trying to get at. It's not like there was anything that was necessarily.
I'm looking at you,
Sorry.
Jackpack.
Oh God. It's not like there was anything that was necessarily stopping them before, but they didn't do it well. The augments in DS9, Jack and them are very stereotypical and fitting. The only one of that group that I think comes out anywhere like kind of well is Serena Douglas. She's the only one that's not like a joke
And
character.
even that episode is fucking creepy. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That episode is weird because it's another fucking Bashir
What?
dating his patients,
Yeah.
Flash
And
trying to
what's
fix his
to her? Yeah,
girlfriend's
quote unquote fix.
thing.
It's like.
It's yeah, Chrysalis has a lot of the same problems as Melora. It's
Right,
not
right.
great.
There could be
But
some like
right,
internalized ableism stuff going
right.
on with him.
Right. I think Bashir has maybe some internalized ableism. I agree with that. But this is not a character analysis of Julie and Bashir. We'll get into
We
that
do that one day. We may do that one day.
one day. I agree. But yeah, starting with um Star Trek started to move a little bit further, even within DS9, because in late season 7, not late season 7, in season 7, we are introduced to Esri, and her like anxieties are more recognizable from a real world perspective, right? And are not as dramatized as we're like used to seeing from Star Trek characters. So that's sort of like a starting, like they're starting to move in that direction, right?
I
And then
think, yeah. Mm-hmm. I
and then they
think
do something. But
right. I think Tilly is a good sign of how far they've come
yes,
because
yes, Tilly was the first one where it felt like she was definitely neurodivergent on purpose. I was gonna say just in between Esri and Tilly, I think the Toshi and Enterprise was sort of written to have like ambiguously
mm,
maybe some kind of anxiety issue,
mm.
but not like they don't go hard into it. Um, so I think like from Esri to Hoshi to Tilly, I see like a sort of
Oh.
through line there. But yeah, Tilly was the first one.
What's interesting about Tilly is, you know me, I'm not a huge fan of Discovery, but I like Tilly as a character.
I really liked her as well. I think she's great. But yeah, she was the first main character that was neurodivergent on purpose and was not just coded or the outsider as a dramatic storytelling device or whatever.
The
Um,
Jack Pack, I have my suspicions about the Jack Pack and them trying to sneak that in there with the Jack Pack. But it's like a '90s
yeah.
understanding of neurodivergence.
Yes, it's very 90s, which makes
Very, very Rain Man understanding.
right, right. Which makes the more realistic depiction of Ezri's anxieties in season 7, like just a few years later, um, really impressive. I will give them that. That they got their shit together at least to a degree in such a short amount of time. But it's still a pretty bad mark on Star Trek's legacy
Right.
and something that the modern era has definitely amended a lot more.
Definitely, definitely.
Starting with Tilly and then going into I don't think you got far enough in Discovery to meet them, at least not much. But Adira,
Mm.
I think is fantastic for neurodivergent representation. I love them so much.
I will say, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the modern stuff, I do respect that they've improved on that aspect.
Yes, and there's something about making it finally an explicit part of Spock instead of a reading of Spock that I think that is a good full circle
Right, right.
thing to do. And I think it feels fairly natural in this episode. It doesn't feel like them like injecting the episode with therapy speak or something.
Right. It
Um,
feels very natural, especially since it's what T'Pring
right,
does in universe.
right, right. It's not like a CW teen drama
Right.
understanding of this sort of thing. It's not like fucking like
Which I don't know. We may talk about T'Pring's job and its
Its
legal and
implications. Yeah,
ethical
yeah.
implications.
Right. Because the way her position is described, especially in the episode with Captain Angel, creates a very blurry line between is she a therapist who does like rehabilitation work
Right.
and is helpful, or is she part of a state apparatus to brainwash Vitas Couture into
Right.
being quote unquote normal?
Right. It also doesn't help that TOS has a pretty bad track record of, oh, our prisons just make people normal through rehabilitation.
Right. The horrifying Orwellian TOS like quote unquote therapy machines are horrific. And I'm glad that none of that shit from the Tantalus 4 episode or the Whom Gods Destroy has like
That
ever been
is,
mentioned again.
it's never been
Also,
mentioned
like,
again.
here's something we don't talk about. Regarding to the Tantalus one, Kirk was permanently brain altered to be in love with that woman, and that's never fixed. Like yeah, she's not there anymore later. I guess he transferred or whatever, but like that never gets fixed. Like, like it's not as bad as like them never restoring her as memories explicitly, but it's like it's really weird. Um, um,
Right. Anything else you want to talk about this episode?
let's see. But yeah, Spock coming to terms with the fact that he has been overwhelmed and that he needs to sort of recenter himself, I think is something there certainly. That gives the episode a little bit. I know I called it empty calories earlier, but I'll be nicer now and say it does give the episode something a little bit more beyond hijinks. It's not as deep as
Right.
like some character stuff in hijinks episodes of previous Trek has been, like my comparison to Rascals, because I think the stuff about how Crow didn't really have a childhood the first time around is a lot stronger than Spock stuff here. I'm biased, but yeah. Um, but it is something nice. There's a little bit of characterization for La'an. Is like one thing really interesting. This is in the dream, granted, so it doesn't really happen. But like La'an feels like she doesn't have to worry about. La'an is actually happy to get turned into a puppet, or at least the dream version of La'an, because she feels that in that form she can't really hurt anyone like she fears doing as a normal augmented human. Um,
Right.
which is a
I
little
went.
bit interesting.
Uh-huh.
I do wish the show would finally like go somewhere substantial with Lon's arc instead of like
Right.
picking at it here and there. Like it's Lon's arc has been very small, I guess.
It's
Series
been
so
a
far.
very slow burn.
Yes, yeah.
Like
Which is
I know we haven't had much characterization for Ortegas, but I think Ortegas has like had more characterization in like this season that's made up for a lot of it.
right. And her character arc is just becoming friends with Scotty.
It's something. It's not nothing.
It's something. It's something. Yeah, they keep drip feeding this thing like Lon's angst to us, but not really going into it. And part of me is worried about them going into it because of how the show
Right.
has been in terms of covering topics of eugenics before. But part of me
Right.
wishes they just would to finally properly confront it. But it was something.
Right.
Um, um, I did kind of like the bit of where the longer that they're puppets, the longer they become silly and start
Right.
thinking about
Right.
things in like sort of slapstick comedy ways, like
Right.
Pike. It's really exaggerated, which
Right.
some people complain about Pike being depicted as like Pike
Right.
like becoming like more and more incompetent as this series has gone on. And I've theorized in the past how it feels like to me that they're trying to
Right.
set up why Kirk quote unquote needs to take over the Enterprise from him, and I don't like them doing that
You
because
see,
Kirk
here's my
was
thing.
already shown
Th-
as a
th-
good captain
there
60 years
doesn't
ago.
there doesn't need to be a reason. Pike's gonna
Right,
retire, and Kirk's gonna be the new captain.
right.
There doesn't need to be a reason.
Right. There doesn't need to be like a deeper reason of Pike needing to give up the chair. And I don't like that the show feels like it's been leading someone in that direction, especially since you know for a fact that year one isn't fucking happening.
Uh huh.
Or at least we know for mostly a fact. I suppose it could come back up again in the midst of the proposals that
I
Paramount is
mean,
currently carrying out as they try to figure out what to do next.
we're going to talk about that later. We'll talk about that
Yes,
later.
we'll talk about that later. Yes, that's a segue into something that we're gonna talk about more in the
Yup.
news section.
Yeah.
It's ultimately vague news, but there's some stuff to talk about with that. But yeah, um, but this episode, it felt like it was okay. It was him becoming like, first of all, it was all a dream anyway. But secondly, it was him becoming a bit silly. He wouldn't normally like immediately threaten proton torpedoes.
Right, right.
Uh, proton torpedoes in Star Wars. Sorry, but like yeah, I thought that was a fun element of the hijinks. I thought the Orions, this
Hmm.
episode, the group of them that we see, the three of them. Well, there's a few more, but there's mostly
My
were
big problem with the
fun comedy
Orions
villains.
is
They were threatening enough.
they were threatening enough. My problem is it just they remind me of that Enterprise episode, which is really cringy.
Yes, they bring up the matriarchy thing, and they've tried to make it like a little bit more casual and a little bit less weird, similar to what Lower Decks did. But I don't think this episode was as successful as Lower Decks because Lower Decks had more time to develop and obviously had Tendi as a point of
My
view
my my
character.
my, my
Um,
thing would be just ignore that ever fucking happened in Enterprise.
right. The conversation that Spock has with the Orion that's played by Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine feels like I think when we were watching it, I called it the reverse Last Outpost, where instead of like the Ferengi guy going,
Right.
"You clothe your females," it's this guy going like, "Oh, you don't just like listen to whatever your females say, no matter what." It's reverse Last
Oh my
Outpost, and
god! It's almost it's still cringy. It's still cringy.
it's super cringy. Um, but yeah, I appreciate that I didn't go too far into it, but it was a little bit cringy to have them kind of bring it up at all. I think they could have done it like the way they were introduced. Like you can do it in a subtle way where you just like the captain of the Orion ship is a woman, and the men we see follow her orders, and that's it. You don't lampshade it.
And she's not wearing bikini armor like an STO.
Oh my god, the SEO bikini armor is awful. Like that was something I really appreciated about the depiction of Othira, the main villain of Discovery season 3. Yeah, she was an Orion, she was a woman, she was in charge, but they didn't bring that shit up again. She was just her. She had her own presence as a villain. That justified her.
Right.
Followed her orders. That was it. They didn't lampshade it. They didn't bring up the Enterprise thing. That was just how it was. And kind of a similar thing, if I remember correctly, if the Orions in those old scientists like Kennedy's grandmother and all that. No, actually the captain of that ship might have been a dude. I don't remember. But yeah, I would have preferred them to do something like that rather than bring it up at all. Speaking of Osira, the outfits that they're wearing are definitely seem reminiscent
Uh,
of the 32nd century Orions with the black and silver and the
mm.
and all that. Um, which I'm fine with. I don't think it's like it's just clothes. I don't think it's like too early or whatever. Um, but yeah, they were fun. They were fun enough
Right. Right.
as villains. I think they served for what they were. They struck the right balance between being like silly but not being so
Right.
obviously
Right.
non-threatening. Like I know is your problem with the Ferengi and Rascals that it doesn't like make sense
Right.
for
Right. They
them
are
to
more
be
threatening than the Ferengi and rascals, who are just idiots and rascals.
right. Idiots that like got off a few that basically just got off a few lucky shots. That's sort of how I interpret the takeover of the Enterprise of that episode. They basically just
Oh
got lucky.
no! The Galaxy class ship is being threatened by two birds of prey. Uh huh.
Were they even the big ones?
No, they were the small ones. They were the Burrells.
The small ones. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. At least they should. At least like make it the big ones. Oh god, that's hilarious.
It reminds me of season one Picard. There, like oh, we
You
surrender.
know.
Surrender. But yeah,
Um.
I'm gonna give a little
Anything else
yeah, I'm gonna give
substantial?
a little preview for next week's episode. The next episode is called
Hmm.
Off Hour. An off-duty window becomes a warp emergency when Enterprise is pushed beyond its safe limits. Sounds like a Scotty and Ortega's episode. the engineer
Yes,
and
I could see that. Right. I can see it being in the Scotty Undertaker's episode. I would be down for that.
I'd be down for that.
Um,
Scotty and
that's some fun.
Ortega's
Yeah,
shenanigans is much more fun than
I
than
agree.
the live love triangle shenanigans in the last season.
Right, and that's the thing with them. I like that they're just friends. Like
Right, right.
the writers seem to know that Ortega's is a lesbian, but not have like found a way to naturally introduce it into the show.
Okay, that's one
Yet
thing. That's one thing I
it's
complained about
relieving.
this show. This of the modern era is probably the most like afraid of explicitly showing queer people. Like they'll talk about it.
Yes, this is other than very short treks, which barely even fucking counts. This is the most conservative modern Star Trek show, relatively.
Like they'll
Um,
talk about people being bi or gay, but they never bring it
right,
up.
right,
But
right. Right, they mentioned Ortega, not Ortega, Chapel being bisexual, and then like she's never like she never shows interest in a woman ever.
right, right, and they haven't even said it with Ortegas. They just imply it, which
It's like they kind of just like they know that people are going to vibe check her as a lesbian, which we did. Then they're just kind of leaving it there.
I know, tough woman with some muscles and short hair. I know.
Right. I mean, she's not like the most muscular, but yes,
Yeah,
definitely right.
yeah.
It would be like if which maybe this would be better, but like it would be like if in DS9 like Kira just didn't have any romances, just gonna left her there and it's like, yeah, okay.
I don't know. That might have been a net positive for her.
I agree. I agree
I
honestly,
think the
but
only romance that was really interesting for her was between her and Odo, and I think that was a little too late into the run.
too long. The slow burn is too slow. It's
Yeah,
annoying. The
yeah,
pining is really one-sided from Odo's perspective, which is frustrating to me for a number of reasons. But
right.
once they're actually a couple, they are cute.
Yeah, they are cute once they're together. How they got together is
Is weird,
interesting.
and I don't like how Vic acts in that episode.
It's the only time he acts that way.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Draw it back to Strange New Worlds, it would be like if Verlaine's shenanigans in Wedding Bell Blues were framed as like a good thing for Spock and Chapel's relationship.
Right, right. Okay. So, let's talk about the other thing we watched this weekend. Let's
Yes.
talk about the pilot of Green Lantern called of Lanterns called Pilot, which is interesting for a Green Lantern to have an episode called The
Yes,
Pilot.
it's right. It's an untitled pilot episode, which is essentially that's what pilot episodes called pilot usually are, really. But Hal Jordan is a pilot, so that makes it kind of funny. Um,
And also, there's isn't really a pilot in its truest sense. A pilot is when a company independently makes something and then pitches it to a studio. This is obviously a play
oh.
off him being a pilot. This is not a true pilot.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of shows don't really have like true pilots anymore in that sense. It's just like we call the first episode a pilot to differentiate it, kind of.
Okay, this
I
okay.
suppose some shows do that, like they make their proof of concept to also be launched as the first episode, but
Okay. This episode was directed by James Hawes. I'm going to go with Hawes. Right, written by Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, I know that guy, and Tom King. Of course, the person who wrote Woman of Tomorrow, which is what the Supergirl movie was based on.
yes. He also wrote a fairly well-liked run of Mr. Miracle. He also wrote Heroes in Crisis
He also wrote
and the
the vid.
Batman run, where they
he
teased Batman and Catwoman getting married for the entire time, and then they don't.
he also wrote the Visions, which is weird.
That Vision comic was weird. Like, I'm glad that we got Viv as a character. I like her, but that initial series was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Um,
After a fatal
Tom King
shooting,
is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
After a fatal shooting, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and new recruit John Stewart set out to prove it was an extraterrestrial event. Doo, doo, doo. Oh, I can't whistle that. Anyways, you know what I mean. Aliens!
Yeah.
Okay, so main thrust of the show is actually set, at least in this episode, is actually set 10 years before now. It's set in 2016, which is pre-Superman showing up, which is interesting.
Yes.
This is a...
The show starts out much earlier.
What did you think about this
What did
episode?
I think of this episode?
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. I wasn't jazzed by it. I didn't hate it either.
I am interested in this episode. I want to know where it goes because this got me interested. It's not amazing enough itself, but it did get me interested.
Yes, I don't think this episode is like altogether that interesting by itself, but it does set up things that can be interesting. So I'll give it that, I suppose. Some of the characterization feels a little weird.
It feels a little weird. Like, I know James Gunn did not write this, but I can see the influence. Right. I can see the James Gunn influence. Right.
People are like a little hostile in ways that feel like a bit too much for the situations at times.
I know Hal Jordan's a cocky dude, but this feels even too cocky for him.
He's wild in this. He's kind of crazy as a mentor. Like he's also kind of a dick about it. Like he seems to maybe be worried about being replaced or something. I don't know, but like he's really kind of a dick. The best comparison I can make with some of the shit that he does is, this is gonna take a while because I'm gonna explain this to give you context. So in the 70s Japanese superhero show Ultraman Leo, the main character is mentored by a relatively older Ultra 7, who was the hero of the second Ultraman show, essentially. Because he got his leg broken in a fight with some kaiju at the beginning of the series, so all he can really do is offer like mentorship and training, and he does like fucking crazy, like life endangering, you're gonna fucking learn this shit or else shit. And it's like it's a 70s tokusatsu show, so it's like really zany about it too.
Right. Okay. For example,
like that, but like in a modern show and serious.
Right. For example, one thing that John does this year, he flies off without explanation, and basically engineers it so John will have to find his own way to fucking Nebraska.
Right. And drives the car off a cliff with John in it.
I know. He's really testing John's patience. Like, I do think John Stewart is the most by the book Green Lantern.
Of the main evil ones, probably, yeah, I would say so.
Because we know Guy Gardner's he's a pompous rogue a lot of the time.
Right, and when Kyle Rayner first came about, there wasn't a core.
Right, because they were all dead because Hal killed them.
Yeah, he sure did. Good times.
I wonder if we'll get Emerald Twilight in this reality. That'd be weird.
That would be wild. I was gonna say I have a reprint of the Emerald Twilight issue, the cover of him holding
the rings
on his fingers with his evil smile.
Like I know like opinions on Emerald Twilight are mixed, but that cover is iconic.
That cover is iconic. I like Emerald Twilight. I think it's because I come from a modern perspective, so I know that Hal like comes back to being a hero eventually,
right.
And the core comes back eventually. I definitely get how somebody would hate it in the moment, but I like it as like a temporary dark moment thing. Like, I kind of consider it along the same vein as like Death of Superman or Nightfall, or Green Lantern.
One thing that is interesting for the universe is they call Hal Jordan the first Green Lantern on Earth, which is interesting. It might have some it might have some like things to say about Alan Scott existing in this universe.
Yes, because they don't make an explicit distinction between a superhero called Green Lantern and the Green Lantern Corps.
Right, so they could just be talking about the Corps. Because I am pretty sure that Alan Scott exists in this universe. From like the mural in the Hall of Justice. Wall, right? So he does exist in this universe.
My speculation is that maybe Alan Scott was not a public figure
Hmm.
in the 40s. Like he was a more in the shadows type of hero in his heyday.
See,
So people just don't know about him, and that way they can have their cake and this they can sort of like have their golden age cake and eat their silver age cake too, in terms of how they present it, so to speak.
right, right, because like Silver Age was very interesting in the comics, where they just completely ignored the Golden
Right.
Age heroes for a very long time.
Right. They were rebooting the characters
Like if you were not
essentially.
Superman or Batman, you were getting a reboot,
Right.
or Wonder Woman, But that's a curse for another
And
time.
even Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman's characterization was all over the place during that time.
That's true. I was gonna say even the Trinity, I think, were sort of like they were not rebooted to the to the extent that they introduced like new people and a new version of the concept and all of that, like to the extent that they did with like the Flash and Green Lantern and other characters. But they were kind of soft rebooted. Like the silver, like it would become apparent that the Silver Age versions of them and the Gold Age versions of them are like different guys
Right,
multiversally.
right. That would happen later on. But yeah, no Guy Gardner yet, which is interesting. That means he gets recruited sometime between 2016 and 2026. Like, okay, interesting. Or
Yeah,
2000, whenever the
it's interesting.
Superman movie is set, 2025,
Right.
I think.
I think the Superman movie is set in 2025. So when it jumps
Okay.
to the present, for us, that is also a year after
Right.
Superman in universe.
Right, right. Because like
And
the most of what takes
maybe,
place this
like,
episode is
right.
2016, which is technically the earliest we've seen this universe.
Yes, I believe this is the earliest time point we've seen of the
Depends
universe.
if a Suicide Squad 2016 is canon, which I think it still is.
Right, or at least soft canon. That's true. One minor detail, specifically of like the point 2016 the movie takes place. It takes place before the U.S. presidential election. So Barack Obama is still president of the United States at the time. Um, I don't know if that's
Right.
anything that will
I
ever be
I
particularly relevant.
I don't know if they're gonna do like a timeline divergence thing. Like the MCU infamously does like weird timeline diversions
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to
because
make like
like Barack
do alternate
Obama
history.
was president in the MCU, which is okay, interesting.
Right, and then they're all like, and then everyone after him is fictional. I think they went with the last few months of Obama's presidency to avoid the controversy of bringing up Trump at all.
I don't think they wanted to.
Right.
not that he was afraid to do this. We have seen that James Gunn is not afraid to insult the powers that be right now. Right now.
Sorry, my brain. I'm sorry. I've been reading a Marvel comic about the cosmic entities, and uh, the powers that be is the name of like this being that's like a cosmic embodiment of magic. So I just,
I
sorry, that meant something very different in my head for a second.
I
Yeah,
will what
basically,
I
like they have these
yeah. Mm-hmm. What
quick
I
Marvel cosmic side tangent. There's these
uh-huh.
two beings that essentially represent magic and science, and their names are the powers that be in the natural order of things. Yes, they are very long names. It's at least they're on brand. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Like okay, like James Gunn has not been afraid to get political. Like not at
No.
all. Unlike the kind of gutless MCU, at least the DCU so far has been not
Yeah,
afraid to get its hands a little dirty, which this episode
yeah.
does do a little bit, which is interesting. Like, there is some political stuff with like the weird militia going on in this small town.
Mm.
I want to know what the fuck is
Yes,
going on there. That's
the
weird.
alien hunter, the very right wing coded alien hunter militia group.
The way he sees things is interesting. I'll give it that. It's a weird, like, right wing look at colonialism. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a like he like the guy talks about like how bad colonialism is and how bad it is to get colonized, but he's also like fearing the other and like I'm here to protect this
Right,
planet from anyone not born on it. And like
right.
so it's this mix of sort of ideologies.
Right.
which is you don't usually see
And I will give it the credit. It's
in real
a
life or in
I
fiction.
think
Like,
it's like a okay. If you're purely a pure logical standpoint, it is like a interesting logic to connect those dots
mm,
of connecting xenophobia, but doing it through like a lens of like a
of
colonization
anti-colonialism,
thing. Except
which
in this,
bringing back to
scenario, we are the Native Americans.
right, which bringing back to Star Trek, that like sort of seesaw between anti-colonialism and xenophobia is the main thing that the Bajorans are dealing with throughout Deep Space Nine.
Right.
So it's not completely out of nowhere for us, but it is something that you don't normally see in in this in a human person in a
Right.
more realistic setting like this. Like the real life version of this guy is like your politically incomprehensible uncle.
Right. But I will say, in his defense, in this reality, aliens are a real thing. In our reality, aliens are not a real thing.
Right,
So we can't really
right.
know
I'm
how right wingers
he
would like
doesn't
think about aliens
right.
in that way.
Right. He doesn't mention. Okay, one thing I think is interesting in terms of like they didn't do like they're not trying too hard to make the universe connected, which I somewhat appreciate. But the reason I say that is the guy doesn't talk about like his thoughts on Superman. That
Well,
never
well,
comes up. Like that's not
because Superman's not there
nobody ever
yet.
brings up Superman as a
S-
counterexample that
Well,
aliens can be good.
because Superman isn't there yet. He hasn't revealed himself yet.
Oh right, is that one of the 2016 scenes?
Yeah,
No, wait, no. Wait, when does Superman come on the scene? Because there's that montage of
it's
like
about
6 years ago, Superman
it's
this, 6 months ago,
I think
Superman did
it's
this.
like I think it's supposed to be like in the early 2020s when he first revealed himself, like 2020 or
Okay.
something. Because they like threes. They like 30, like 333. I think it's been
Yeah,
like
oh,
three
it was
years.
threes. I thought it was sixes for some reason.
So
You're right.
like Superman is not a example to counterbalance it, which is very interesting. Maybe they did that on purpose
Mm, mm.
to be like, well, that guy's an alien and he's a good
Speaking of
guy.
things, speaking of things that I'm not sure if they did on purpose. So, like, okay, shit. Hold on. Who's the guy who plays Jon Stewart in this show? Hold on.
I don't know his. I don't. I know. Let me look up.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing because I forgot already.
Uh, oh yeah, we have some
I forgot.
weird stuff to talk about. That weird subplot. Um,
Oh yeah. There's that part of it. Yeah. So this is surprisingly grounded for what this universe has been so
oh,
far.
his name
Yeah.
is Aaron Pierre.
Okay, that's what I was getting from the search results, but I wasn't quite sure. Okay, Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre, I think does a pretty good job. His acting is
Right,
good.
right. It's good.
He's not a bad specific thing I want to talk about. He's not a bad physical likeness for Jon Stewart
Right, he's
from
not
the
bad.
comics. He's
He's
not
not bad.
exact. He works. However,
His
there is a
dad.
flashback scene to his
Yeah,
childhood, and then his dad walks in, and I'm like, that's Jon Stewart. There he is.
I know that guy
Like
looks like the guy from the comics.
yes, his dad looks so much more like comic Jon Stewart than he does. It was really jarring, and I don't know if it means anything because me personally, I've never interacted with like a Green Lantern comic. Jon Stewart's dad was even like a plot relevant
Right, right.
person. I've read
I
some stuff
don't like
where his mom comes up, but I've
right,
never
right. I've
seen
never heard
his dad
anything
to be a thing.
about which I think might be the James Gunn influence. Like he did not write this, but he is the big guy in the chair, so he might have put some father and son stuff in this, like he always likes to do and everything.
Right. He loves dad issues characters.
Which I don't know about his personal life. I don't know if this is a thing he had to deal with as a
Right.
kid. But he seems to really
Um,
like putting daddy issues into his stuff, which I feel is a
especially,
James Gunn influence.
right. I was gonna say, especially, not exclusively, because obviously there's like Gamora and Nebula, but like especially daddy issues for men
Which,
or his male character.
honestly, I think is a good thing, because I don't think that's examined with men all that much as it should be, like in a responsible way.
Yes. like a praise that I've heard of James Gunn is that a lot of his stuff is about deconstructing toxic
Right,
masculinity. And I think
right.
that's overall positive, even if I have like specific disagreements with some of his projects. But
I
I think that's a good
really
thing that he does.
hope. I really hope
The
they
other reason
deconstruct the no fear thing. I really hope they deconstruct that because
that would be very interesting. Yes, yes, because like they have Johnson Senior, like
he does the
shooting
he
apples
yeah
over his
he
head with a
yeah
gun.
yeah he does the William Tell
Insane,
but with a gun, which is
right?
perceived as a good thing that you would do that with your kid. And his father appears to be like a Hal Jordan fan.
Right.
It's almost like he's like
Yes. Hal has been around long enough
I don't say
this
this
universe to be a
lightly.
fan.
Like I'm not meaning it this way, but he seems almost trying to like groom his son into being the next Green Lantern, like because he seems to
Huh. I didn't think
idolize
about those as being
because he
connected.
seems to like idolize Hal Jordan.
The way I took it is that John Stewart Sr. is the kind of person who has served in the military and then like internalizes that thought process and then it becomes his entire life. So he wants children to be fearless and stalwart like soldiers. Like that. I see John like John Jr. I guess to differentiate. Like I see him as like that kind of like army
Uh,
quote unquote army brat like character archetype.
right, right. What's
Like,
interesting
oh,
is there is a interesting
my dad
focus
ran his house
on
like a platoon, like that kind of thing.
there seems to be a lot of focus on like military service, like a lot in this series. Because of course Hal
Right.
Jordan is in the Air Force and like he's a Marine and he's a Marine
John
sniper,
Stewart is a
John
former Marine, which
yeah. They specifically
I
say
know
he's
there's
a
some
sniper, which is interesting to make
right,
him a sniper.
which I think is accurate to something. I think I've seen him like do that before. Like I'm thinking particularly, I think he had like a sniper rifle in that episode of the Justice League cartoon where they get sent back in time to World War II, and he ends up teaming up with like they're basically like the DC Howling Commandos,
Right.
um,
There
like
seems to
Sergeant Rock and
be
them. I think.
there seems to be a odd respect between him and like the militia leader up until a certain point. Because the militia leader
Yes.
seems to be like a wannabe badass kind of guy. The kind of
Right.
guy
He
who
seems to
like washed out of Marine training or something.
a little bit. Yeah. He seems to want to perhaps even assist. They don't say his name, do they?
No, I don't. I think they do at one point. It's very brief.
I don't remember what his first name was.
I know
Because
his
that could
last
mean
name.
something. Because the sheriff is his daughter,
Yeah, because I
right?
know their last name
Her
is like no, the sheriff is his daughter-in-law.
daughter-in-law. Okay.
The
Because the reason I
lawyer is
brought
his
okay, never
son.
mind, never mind. Okay, he's not who I thought he was. But anyway, because the sheriff's last name is Kane, which in a DC context makes me think of Batwoman and like Martha
Right,
side of
right, right.
Bruce's family like immediately.
But that's her name. What is his
Probably a
name? He
coincidence.
might be a comic reference. Let me see.
Right. I don't think he's gonna turn out to be like a version. The reason I bring up the potential Batwoman connection is because I don't think he's going to turn out to be a version of like Kate's dad, but like I could see Kate's dad in this role,
Although I will
this
say
like
it's
story role.
very progressive for a small rural town in Nebraska that the man and the woman have two different last names. Very very progressive.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I think that's maybe to hide the twist. Twist. Well, it's kind of like a twist, like oh, that's my wife. It's played for like comedy.
Mm.
Let me look up the lanterns. I want to see if this guy like is a reference to comic stuff because I know John.
Mm.
Because I know as much as he likes
Bacon, that
comic
was his
book.
last name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought I was worried about that too.
Um, let me look. Yeah, Macon. That's his name. Okay, there. Oh no. That just brings up the DC Universe one.
Mm.
It doesn't look like there's anybody by that name in the DC universe. Yeah,
Okay,
it
so these
looks
are
like
probably
it looks like he's an OC.
okay. These are probably invented civilian characters, or at least civilians so far. We'll see what happens. I say civilian as a non superhero. is what I mean in this context. But
Or for as much
or
as
not
James
superhero, not super
Gunn,
villain.
for as much as James Gunn loves comics, he does have a lot of civilian OCs.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, that's a pretty time honored trope of superhero stuff, where people writers just make up new civilian characters to suit their purposes instead of like going back and finding old ones
Now, I
that might be
will
relevant
say,
if they're not the
I
ones
will
that aren't like
say,
staples of a character.
I will say, Spider-Man used all of the OC, they had used like no OCs. They like used all the Daily Bugle staff. I
Spider-Man has such a stable of well-known civilian characters that they can just kind of pull on them, which makes it really weird.
Ted Raimi's character I think is the only like made up one.
Yeah, which makes some of the '90s comics really weird because Ben Riley, the Scarlet Spider slash the Sensational Spider-Man, when they were trying to set him up on his own, they kept trying to introduce supporting characters for him, and then like other writers
Right.
wouldn't use them, and they just vanished into the fucking ether. And like I don't know how you do that in a series with such a rich cast as Spider-Man. Like I think that's a weird mistake,
Right.
a weird problem to run into. But anyway,
But yeah, like
um,
the civilians seem to be original characters as far as I could tell. Like they're not
right.
superheroes.
Right, I'm trying to think of anything else interesting. There's a setup for the plot with this alien guy in a human disguise who sets off like a suicide bomb inside of himself that Hal has to stop with
He
the
might
whole.
be a manhunter. I think he might be a manhunter.
Yes, based on some of the trailer stuff and some of what I've heard about this series, the overall villains seem to be the Manhunter robots, um, which I think makes a lot of sense. They're very classical Green
Right.
Lantern villains to go with. They're a very interesting examination of the failures of the Guardians of the Universe, which
Right.
obviously we have not seen them yet, though they have been mentioned.
Right.
Um,
I want to know. I want to know where Sinestro, because we've seen Sinestro in the trailers.
yes, we've
I want
seen
to know what
Sinestro
he
in the
has to do
trailer.
with this. I want to know what he has to do with
Right.
this.
My suspicion is that Sinestro is going to be because like Green Lantern stories have done this a few times. Um, Sinestro is going to be the sort of Hannibal Lecter, or for Star Trek fans, Duran Dax,
Right.
where he's going to be like they're going to go to Sinestro because they know that even though they don't like him or trust him, he has some kind of insight on the situation that might be useful. I think they're going to do that kind of thing.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
said, um, I,
I am
I
not impressed
believe
with.
Green.
Uh, I do not like the costume. At least what I've seen of it. I'm not a fan of the Green Lantern
Yeah, Hal's
costume.
costume doesn't look very good.
They
I've
make it
not
look.
seen John's costume
They
at
make it
all.
look armory. Stop it with the armor. Gosh, what is this? The
Yeah,
new
it's a little too
52?
padded.
What is this? The new 52? Gosh, the biggest crime in the new 52 was changing Alan Scott's uniform from the classic like cape design to stupid armor.
Oh, that's right. Actually, well, I mean, it's better than Alan Scott's '90s design, but anyway, I don't hate that design, but I also like I don't consider like that Alan Scott and the classic Alan Scott to be the same character anyway. Like the new 52 version of Earth 2 was like a totally different thing from the
Well,
Golden Age universe to me.
like the rebirth version seems to be combining the two, like the post rebirth version.
Oh, I have not looked at that.
Like he's still gay in the rebirth version. Like they seem to be taking that part for the new
Right.
52.
They pulled that over and they did that whole mini series about his history and how he got rizzed by a Soviet spy that
Right,
became the
right.
Golden Age Red Lantern.
Right. So there's some interesting stuff we have at play here.
Yeah.
Although I do hope, fingers crossed, I do hope that when John Stewart gets his costume, it looks like the one for the DC animated universe because that one looks so fucking good. Looks like a great one.
Yes, the very simple, minimalistic but perfectly effective black and green is
Right.
such a good look for him.
Right. It is. It's a great look for him. I hope they do something similar. Because I gotta be
Yeah,
honest,
it's almost Starfleet-esque with the green
for
shoulders,
as
black everything else.
for as much as like James Gunn loves the like comic accuracy thing, he's doing a lot of weird stuff with the suits that I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of. I think so far Supergirl's looks like the most like quote unquote accurate one.
Yes, Supergirl's and Superman's. Superman's like the panel lining stuff is a little bit more obvious than a Supergirl's costume, but
I will say I am
um,
glad we don't have a Superman who's like overly muscular for no reason now.
I agree. I agree. And I like that nobody here is nobody in this show is like crazy jacked either. Like John Stewart is the normal amount of jack that I expect for like a Marine.
Right. He doesn't look like a tank like they would. Like, there's like concept art of him in the DCEU, and he looks like a fucking tank.
Who are they gonna cast for that?
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
yeah,
You know how Zack Snyder loves his macho muscly men.
right. The overall premise with how it works, where there's only one, because John is
Right.
they're doing the back of Green Lantern thing. There's only one Green Lantern ring that they have to share situationally. It's the that overall part of the premise is very similar to John's earliest comics when he was first
Right.
introduced.
Right. Because
Which
it is
I
interesting
was thinking his
because
first cover,
it is
the
interesting.
the classic. They whooped Green Lantern. Now let him get a load of me.
The interesting thing about
Fucking
John
love that
Stewart
cover.
is, to my knowledge, he's like the only like Green Lantern that was specifically picked for the job instead of it being an accident.
Right. Or instead, I mean, I guess Kyle kind of, but that was like Ganthet got to Earth, like crashed on Earth and was like, oh fuck, there's only
That's
one Green Lantern
it.
ring left.
Yeah, it's basically the same as Ebon Sur, which
The you shall do for
yeah,
Kyle.
yeah,
I
or
love that guy though.
yeah, the it's interesting. At first, I thought he was fucking with us. Like, okay, that's not really how it happened. But then he does the Ebon Sur thing, which is interesting because I thought he was fucking with
Right,
us
then he
at
mentions
first.
the Abin Sur part. Right, he
Yeah,
could still be like obscuring parts of what happened, but yeah, it's interesting. I do wonder if we'll see a flashback because Hal Jordan's origin as the Green Lantern is reasonably known, but not
it's
enough to where
right,
showing a scene of it would
right.
be gratuitous.
This isn't Spider Man. It's not that well known. It's well known by comic fans,
Right,
but by general audiences, it's not that well known.
right, or Superman or Superman or Batman. Which
Right.
actually, you mentioned the James Gunn of it all. Hal in the comics has like a decent amount of daddy issues. I don't know if they'll get into that since this version of him is already older,
Wow,
but
interesting. Which I'm
he
surprised
has
they
this like
gave
really
John
like crazy
Stewart the
moment.
daddy issues. They gave John.
He has this like crazy moment in Emerald Twilight. Hal does where he creates a when he's trying to like recreate the city with his ring, and he creates a construct of his father. And even the construct of his dad isn't like proud of him. like
Wow, dang.
like the dude needs therapy. Oh, one thing I do appreciate, while I think he's too much of a dick sometimes, I appreciate how the show embraces what a fucking hot mess Hal Jordan is.
He is a hot mess of a character. I think he goes a little too far in some areas.
Yeah. Like Hal Jordan to me is the Green Lantern that spends most of his time in space because his life on Earth is a disaster.
Right. And it's a very interesting take to have the Screen Lanterns, which are very much
Mm.
very space, very cosmic, having them very grounded for this show, which is
Right. At least
interesting.
to start off, they're probably going to go to Oa and stuff eventually, but
Maybe that's where they have Sinestro. I don't know.
maybe because like Superman is an alien, but like you don't need to focus on that if you don't want to.
Right.
As much as more recent takes really like focusing on. But anyway, um, um, but like Green Lantern, maybe they're trying to ease people into it because Green Lantern is like relatively higher concept than a lot of other more
Right.
well-known DC properties.
Right.
Like it's
Right. And you gotta
um
remember, the last Green Lantern live action thing was the Ryan Reynolds movie. So, yeah.
yes, if we don't count Guy Gardner's supporting role in Superman 2025.
Well, okay.
Uh,
The Green Lantern like focused thing, like
Centric
focused
thing.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, Another interesting aspect is that Hal is public identity in this show, which I don't know if that's ever been a status quo for him in the comics. I'm not sure.
I don't know
Like
how
people,
the Green Lanterns in the comics are really interesting. Sometimes they operate like
right,
Iron Man logic, like they're celebrity
right. Sometimes they
superheroes.
make it known. Right. Right. Like most of the alien ones don't wear any kind of mask.
Right.
Don't seem to be concerned about concealing their identities among their own peoples as much as the human ones do.
Right.
And some of the human ones don't wear masks.
You
Jon
notice,
Stewart
you
doesn't wear a
notice,
mask. Guy
you
Gardner doesn't wear
notice,
a mask.
you notice there are no masks in this show so far. There are no masks. They're not
No,
doing the.
even when
They're
Hal
not
briefly
doing.
puts on the
They're
costume, there's not the
right,
domino mask,
right. There's no domino mask, which is. I assume
which
this
could
means
be
that in this
because
universe, the Green Lanterns are just known people.
yeah, Hal at least is known. Like he's gone on record and said, "Hi, I'm Hal." Like we see the news interview. I'm Hal Jordan. I'm Green Lantern.
And like
Like
Guy
he's not
Gardner seems to be very public later on.
right. He's not just a celebrity as like people know Green Lantern. He's a celebrity as Hal Jordan. People know that Hal Jordan
Right.
is Green Lantern, is the Green Lantern at this point, which is interesting and something that I'm not used to seeing for the character. It could be a little bit of the embarrassment from the 2012 movie still rubbing off because one of the things people made fun of the most was the CGI domino mask on Ryan Reynolds' face,
Right, right. It's a
which
really shitty
personally,
domino mask. Like it's like
right, which I don't think is a reason to never have that part of Hal's costume in live action again, but we have not seen it.
now. I will say there was going to be a live action like Justice League movie in the '90s, by the guy who did the Mad Max movies. Which I've seen.
Does it have any relation to the like pseudo sitcom 1997
No,
Disney
no,
movie one?
nothing like that. No, no, no.
Okay.
And I've seen the costume things for that, and they look like super faithful for what they were going for. Like the Green Lantern straight just looks like the comics version.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Just like Mortal, I think the movie was called.
Yeah. Which would have been
Yes.
interesting. It looked like it was gonna be super faithful.
Yeah.
So I don't know why James Gunn is running away from the costumes now.
Yeah, this is very different in that regard.
Cause like he was not
From what
afraid
we've
of
seen so
like
far.
I will say I think of the like bland costumes, I think Mr. Terrific's works the best because that just is his style.
That's his costume. His costume
Yeah.
is white and black. Like
Right.
whereas all the white and black on Guy and Hawkgirl looks kind of corporatizing, which I think is kind of the point. But we have not seen them separate
Right.
from Maxwell Lord and like get their own costumes yet. So
Right. But it's like Maxwell Plord
is
is
what it is.
played by James Gunn's brother, so
That's fun.
I think he might be around for a while.
Right. And then we will get Deathstroke, played by James Gunn himself. I keep making this joke.
All he
I
needs
keep
is an
making
eye
this
patch
joke.
and he works.
I know.
You think he's actually white haired, or you think he dyes his beard or something?
No, he dyed his hair. He dyed his hair.
Oh, he
He
dyes
turned
his
white
hair?
early.
Oh,
He's too
okay.
young.
I don't know. I've seen some people turn white really early. Anyways. Okay, about the weird awkward sex scene.
Oh my god, that was so weird. It was very jarring and out of nowhere, which is always my problem with sex scenes, but nonetheless, it was a problem with this one as well. Not always, but it's my problem with a lot of sex scenes where
Right.
it's like, oh, their characters are having sex now. Okay. But it was very like stilted,
Right.
obviously fake. Like it wasn't as bad as okay. You know the sex scene in Eternals?
Yes.
That is the worst sex scene I've ever fucking seen in my
Oh
life.
my gosh.
That shit was so awkward and fake. Like, oh my god, that was bad.
Now I warn you, if we ever do
This
watch
is
Peacemaker someday,
better than that, but not great.
if we ever do watch Peacemaker someday, the sex scenes are not great, but they're not supposed to be serious. They're supposed to be comedic.
The raunchiness of Peacemaker is one of the reasons I have not watched it yet. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
It is incredibly raunchy, but it has a lot of heart. It's
Got
like
it.
one of those things where the show is very much like Peacemaker the character. On the surface, it seems like it's gonna be like a nothing but f bombs and sex and stuff, but it's very deep.
Right, violence in movies and sex on TV. Sorry.
Yeah, very much like that. But yeah, that sex scene was weird and out of place.
It was weird and out of nowhere. And then it turns out she's the weird right winger guy's wife, which okay, I guess.
Is
Um,
that gonna
he doesn't
is that gonna come up again? I don't know.
I don't know. What I will say is he does not like try to fucking like murder John or something like that type of guy would.
Right. He's just kind of a little
It,
petty when he hears about it.
right. It seems like they have maybe an understanding, but it's still awkward. I don't
I
know,
will
and I don't know
say,
why, and it
I
doesn't
think it's
like I
just
don't.
common
I'm
sense for that dude. He's not gonna mess with somebody who's friends with the fucking Green Lantern.
That's true. This is true. This is true. Who is training to be a Green Lantern?
Right, right. And a guy who is still without the Green Lantern powers, like a quote unquote peak human, probably. You know that stuff.
Right, right, right. Like he's a very well trained Marine, even without his powers.
Yeah, he does that Batman peak human shit, which fucking peak human. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think it's just more like common sense. He doesn't want to fuck with this guy, especially since he wants the Green Lanterns on his side for whatever he's got planned.
Right. He sees the Green Lanterns as having the same goals as him. Hal and John are hesitant to agree with
Which
because they
which
can tell he's kind of a wacko.
which might be a kind of meta commentary about Green Lantern is the space police. They say it several times. The space police, like you know,
Right, they call them cops.
right,
The Green Lanterns are not like that kind of cop. Not like they're not like American police. Like I think calling them peacekeepers is ultimately more accurate.
you would like compare them
Um
more to like Starfleet.
right, right, exactly. Exactly. They mediate situations, they respond to crises. They're not looking to make arrest quotas. They do
Right.
not enforce
But if you're looking at this from a
the
right
power of the
wing,
rich.
but if you're looking at this as like a right wing American view, they would probably view the Green Lanterns as the space police, the
Right.
cops.
Even moderate people are going to see them as cops, and they sometimes even refer to themselves as cops,
Right.
at least for ease of description. With like they're not police,
Right. Right.
but they're also not that again. Like I don't think they're that kind of cop.
There is this kind of low key thing of like it's not point aspects of John and how being kind of low key disgusted with this guy, but not giving it away too much.
Right. They don't like him, but they're not
Hmm.
trying to give it away because they don't probably because they don't want to create a situation.
Right. Right. And okay, what did you think about the Harry Potter thing? We're gonna talk about this.
The okay, it was ultimately brief, but I agree with the criticism that I've seen online that like the referencing Harry Potter at all was pretty forced, especially when there's like an ongoing controversy around the fact that they're trying to do that new show
It
and
feels
J.K.
very
Rowling has
much
not stopped
like
being transphobic.
like 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 on HBO there was a Harry Potter trailer for the TV show right before this episode.
Yeah, I don't like them doing advertising like that, especially of a franchise that is so thoroughly
If
tied
it,
to an awful
yeah,
awful person.
it feels very much like a note like studio mandate. Hey, can you mention Harry Potter this episode?
Yes. Like it feels like is he still I don't know if he's still the CEO, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like it feels like the hand of Zaslav and I don't like that.
He is still the CEO for now.
Ugh. For now,
And,
because he's done a fucking horrendous job. He's almost killed this fucking company. They gotta get rid of him.
and then Ellison's gonna be the CEO. Oh no!
Oh no.
I
Or
will
whatever.
say,
No, just kidding.
I will
Just kidding.
say, at least Ellison, I think he's more competent as like a businessman than Zaslav.
Mm,
I don't think he's a
right.
total
Which is
fucking
ultimate,
moron.
right?
I don't know.
But yeah, that was gratuitous. I don't like them trying to use this show to like launder Harry Potter. Like, I don't care. I didn't
And
need
of
it.
course,
Um,
also Warner Brothers like, hey, James Gunn is really big in the libs. Maybe we could try to launder Harry Potter's representation through this.
right, exactly. Because there are already a lot of kind of libs who are not very good trans allies who want to who want to try to still enjoy Harry Potter. Um, Like, and those people probably like James Gunn stuff.
Oh shit! Oh, there we go. Oh, I have to cut that out too. My
Um,
microphone went up for a second.
okay.
Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. It feels like a corporate mandate handed down. It's like, hey, mention Harry Potter in
Yeah,
this episode somehow. We don't care how. Just mention it.
right.
I will say it's probably the best way they could have mentioned it without it being too heavy-handed. I think it's probably the best way. Where did Harry
Yeah,
Potter go to school? What?
yeah, it's a bit, it's still forced, but it's not the worst thing in the world ultimately.
Like, it's not even the
Um,
worst thing I've seen.
no,
Forced
I think it's
synergy.
kind of shitty, but I don't have a tremendously long like think piece about it. Is basically my stance.
Yeah, basically, it's a corpo thing to do. That's my stance on it.
Yeah.
Also, that alien
Mhm.
is interesting since it probably will be a manhunter. It seemed like
Mhm.
it was like accessing information that he brought up in its head to like say something about it.
Right.
Like the way
It's
he
interesting.
refers to Barack Obama is very like mechanical.
Right.
Because I'm just gonna be honest, I think an actual guy from Nebraska, a white guy from Nebraska, might have some something more to say about Barack Obama.
Right. And Hal Jordan even kind of says that to him.
Right, right,
Really, Nebraska hillbilly? You don't have something to say about Barack Hussein? He even like sort of rage baits him by calling him Barack
right,
quote unquote Hussein Obama, which
right.
I don't think we're meant to take as something as Hal being
No,
an
no, no,
Obama
no, no,
birth
no,
sister. He's
no,
saying
no,
that
no.
to rage
I
bait.
yeah, he's doing it because oh, if this guy's really a conservative, good old boy, that Hussein thing is gonna make him mad.
Right. He's gonna start ranting, but he doesn't. The fact that he doesn't have a strong opinion about it is suspicious
Right, because in
in its own
2016,
way.
everybody had a strong opinion about it,
Right.
even though politically
And I do
Obama
find his
was
actual, like, once the alien ego mask off, I do find his sort of,
right.
hmm?
Yeah, he like
I was
recites
just
like the Green Lantern code to like mock him. Green Lantern oath.
right. Which is interesting. I was like, don't you say that? I thought like,
I thought he was going to say
I
like
almost
this.
thought like,
I thought he was going to say like the Sinestro version. I was like,
oh, that could have been interesting. The thing that I was thinking is like, I wonder if I thought they were going to do something where like saying the oath activates the ring no matter what, but they didn't do that, and probably for the best because that would have been a little bit weird.
that's stupid. Like I don't like that. I don't
That
like
would have
when
been
they do that.
stupid. But
Okay, you
I
could
didn't
tell
know
this
that they
is probably a
for sure that they
Manhunter
wouldn't.
because he knows like so much about the Green Lantern power ring.
Right.
The fact that
Um.
okay, so like power batteries do exist in this universe.
Right. We haven't seen it yet though. We've only seen the
Right.
ring.
I wonder if the power battery is a giant lantern. It should still be a giant lantern.
Right. It's just simply like the big lantern. I mean, not the giant one, not the central power battery, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the personal power battery.
Right.
Um.
Oh, the design of the ring. I don't know. The design of the ring is
It's very
fine.
fancy.
It's very fancy. It
It's
doesn't look like the one for the
very
comics, like
bedazzled.
at all. Like it doesn't look like the one for the comics at
Right.
all.
They were probably trying to make it look a little bit more grandiose and like not quote unquote cheap, which I think is fair enough.
Like it doesn't
I
even
do
have
think
the.
it's
It
interesting
doesn't
that it
even
has
have the
like
sim.
the middle part of it is
Right.
pretty explicitly like technically what the constructs come out of. Like it's got like a
Right. Right. They're trying to
little
make the.
emitter of sorts.
They like making the technology like practical. It's like,
Yeah. One thing I think people are not that I don't think is that big of a deal ultimately, but I think people are going to be not be the most fond of is that the way that the constructs come together is very much like the CGI sand thing that was like everywhere in like the late 2010s.
right. 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 The
Um, which I know is not everybody's favorite. I'm not that mad about it, but I notice it.
like okay, they seem less like solid constructs and more like they don't seem solid. No.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like the other comics. The
They're
comics they
partially
look
transparent.
right. They look very solid in the comics. Like they're just green.
Right?
And also,
I mean, the like sort of hard light look is something that you see in more modern stuff.
right. So, like, what is interesting is he Hal Jordan uses his Greenland powers to counterfeit dollar bills, which is interesting.
Like not to like buy anything because obviously that wouldn't work because it's a glowing translucent green bill, but he can
But
use
it
it to like trick
seems,
like a
but
jukebox.
it seems to like full machine, so he can like full a vending machine by doing that.
Right. Which honestly, like, some people might have a problem with that because he's always supposed to be a hero. I would do that shit. I would go to a fucking arcade and make construct quarters and fucking live it up. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny? It's funny. We came to the exact same conclusion of like when
Mm.
John, like when Hal like played all those songs in a row. We were like, oh, it's a John Mulaney thing. It's John
He's gonna do
Mulaney.
the John Mulaney bit, right, right. The John Mulaney "What's New Pussycat"
Yeah, just play
routine.
over
Yeah.
and over and over again. He did that. Okay, he didn't do it because he's an
Mm.
asshole. He did it because he wanted to get a rise out of them, so he could have an excuse to go to jail. It's like,
Right, he wanted to get arrested so that he could get put near to the guy that he wanted to interrogate so that he could talk to him because the sheriff would not let him officially interrogate the guy yet because the sheriff does not like superheroes getting involved with her investigations and doesn't really seem to take the authority of the Green Lantern Corps seriously, which to be fair, she is a human on Earth. I can see why she wouldn't.
right, right. It's not exactly why we see many Green Lanterns around here.
Right, and it's not like and it's not like the core has any like real presence
Yet on
on
here, yeah.
Earth like
Because
that
at
people
the,
would know
like
about them.
this apparently is before Earth becomes important later on. Because Earth is not important right now in the galactic scheme.
Right, he calls Earth a galactic backwater and all
But
that
like
typical stuff.
Earth
All
will
that
be
typical stuff from sci-fi,
important.
really.
But like Earth will be important later on because everything fucking happens on Earth in DCU.
Mm, as is
It,
tradition.
like every like cosmic ending event like it is somehow connected to Earth.
Mm. Yeah.
I wonder what the other aliens think of that. It's like, oh man, it's the Earth thing again. Go away.
Oh, sorry.
I
Um,
wonder how they're gonna do the Guardians. I assume they're gonna make them
yeah,
like
I'm curious what they
totally
look like.
CGI. I assume they're gonna make them look totally
Right,
CGI.
or at least mostly CGI. I don't know how much they'll be kind of like embarrassed about the fact that the Guardians look silly.
I'd be more embarrassed by the fact that the Guardians are assholes.
They are assholes. Like they're very bad at their jobs. But like I don't know. We'll see how they deal with the fact that the Guardians have a visibly very silly character design. If they're going to be like self-conscious about
If
that,
we go by
like a lot of
this, we will.
superheroes.
But that means we will go down the road of Snowflame. I'm just kidding. They're not gonna put Snowflame in the
Snowflame.
DCU. Snowflame.
Snowflame in the DCU would be amazing. I would love to see Snowflame. That'd be hilarious.
It's like yes, the new Guardians to repopulate the Earth.
Why did they
A
call them
robot,
that?
and a gay man. Okay.
Yeah, and like three of them get AIDS.
Fucking Christ. Jesus. The 80s, man.
80s. Anyway,
All right, so about that ending where they find Hal Jordan dead, frozen solid, in fact.
yeah, seemingly he seems to be dead. He can't be dead already. He's one of the main characters of the fucking show. Like it's
I
the show
am
was whole thing about
thinking.
him and John.
I'm thinking maybe most of the show will be set in 2016.
Maybe, and then the investigation of the murder of Hal Jordan will be a thing that they build up to. I'm not sure.
Which, if so, it's bold to kill off Hal Jordan this quickly.
It's very bold, yeah. His ring is gone and everything. I wonder if John will be able to call it back. I'm curious how it's gonna go. Either they're gonna do a lot more of the flashback stuff to facilitate having Hal on the show, or he's not really dead. I'm hoping he's not really dead. I
Right.
think killing him off this early would be kind of crazy.
And
As much
plus,
as I
we
love John
got.
Stewart, as much as he is
Plus,
my Green Lantern, I think that would be
we
crazy.
got Guy Gardner. in the mix now, which is very interesting. Since, as of 2016, this rule, one Green Lantern per sector, no exceptions. But then Guy comes
Yeah.
along, when
Right. So that
presumably
rule is
either Hal or John are are Green Lanterns. So
right. So that's probably going to change as it does in the comics, mostly to facilitate considering to have new human main character Green
right,
Lanterns. And but also like we see like multiple like alien ones assigned to like certain sectors at different times, I believe. Um,
right. So
and
it's
I believe
uh
James Gunn has expressed interest in folding Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz into this universe eventually as well.
that'd be interesting.
So there is
Oh, by the
that would be
way,
interesting. I really like this.
do you think they're ever gonna bring back Blue Beetle again?
I really hope so. I think that I thought they were planning on doing an animated series for Blue Beetle.
I don't know. That might have been canceled. Everything's getting canceled now. The Booster Gold series got
That's true.
canceled.
They did cancel. They did cancel the Themyscira show
Right, and they canceled
and
the
the Amanda
Booster Gold.
Waller show
Yeah, they canceled the Booster Gold show too. So,
and the Booster Gold show. You're right. You're right. You're right.
so I don't know what is happening over at DC Studios.
Yeah, things are getting shaky.
I think Supergirl really ruined a lot of their faith in the project.
Really frazzle them, which is a shame because like I don't think.
I still haven't seen it. We may
Like yeah,
review it one of these days.
right. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't like. I understand that Supergirl didn't do that well financially. Like I get that. I don't think it's like a fantastic movie, but I don't think it's. I feel like movie studios you didn't used to get like this rattled by one bomb.
Right, right.
Am I crazy for that? Like I feel like if this is all because if all these cancellations and whatnot and all this like reeling back is because of Supergirl, I think that's an overreaction on their part.
Or there might be behind the scenes stuff we don't know.
Yeah,
You know how picky Warner Brothers is with everything. That's the whole reason why the
yeah,
DCU collapsed in the first place, because Warner Bros. Could not decide anything.
that's true.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know either.
Though Man of Tomorrow is still tracked for 2027, so we'll see where that goes.
Right, that's definitely still coming along, and I can't remember any.
That's the only one I know for sure that's in the can. Oh yeah, and Creature Commando season 2, which you still need to watch season 1. What have you heard about Creature Commandos? Oh crap. Technical difficulties again. I can't hear you.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. There we go. Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. So, have you heard anything about Creature Commandos? Like, have you heard anything about season 1?
I've very little. Not very
I
much. I don't.
I have seen Creature Commandos season 1. I think it's pretty good. I think
Mm,
it gives like more context to some of the stuff in the Suicide Squad, like even more context.
right. I know a lot of people really love GI Robot because his entire personality is that he kills Nazis, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yes, that is a big plot point in his flashback episode.
Mm,
Because each of them gets a flashback episode. The only thing I don't like about the
got it.
episode is, yes, it has a gratuitous sex scene for no fucking reason. Because of course it does.
Ugh. Doing that in an animated show feels even more awkward to me. Like, not to say that animation can only be for children, but it still feels odd.
And there's this
I
weird,
don't know.
weird age gap shit. Because like, just to give you the like
Hmm.
the story like focuses on Rick Flag Senior, not Junior. Junior's dead. And so he becomes romantically involved with this like princess of this European country, but she's like in her 20s, and it's fucking weird because he's like at least in his
Don't like
40s.
that.
Yeah, because he's at
Don't
least like
like
in his
that.
40s, which is weird.
Speaking of age gap,
I don't know why it's
it's
in there.
Jon Stewart and this lady, I guess. I don't have much more to say about them, actually.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't like.
Yeah.
I know James Gunn used to be like his whole thing was it used to be like a He used to be like a exploitation filmmaker. You know what that is, right? Where
Um,
where he would like where
Probably.
it's a brand of movie where you will like show like shocking stuff just to get people to come to the movie theater.
Oh yeah,
So I think he can't let go of that random sex scene to draw the audience thing that a lot of exploitation movies do.
yeah. It's pretty cynical. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of whenever they do it because it's usually not tasteful, and I think you can do
No,
a sex scene in a movie tasteful. I think you can.
right. Another one that I really don't like is there's one. Have you seen Doom Patrol?
No, I've never seen Doom Patrol.
Okay, there's this one in episode one of Doom Patrol with Cliff before he becomes Robot Man that I really don't fucking like. It really makes me uncomfortable. Oh.
All right. Anything more you want to say about like the DCU or this show at
Not
all?
really. This episode doesn't have a lot to it ultimately. I think like it's very it's not a, like things happen, but it's not a lot. It's definitely an episode of a streaming show.
It
You can say
definitely is.
that.
It's a setup for something else. We'll see if it gets
Right.
paid
It's
off.
all set up.
Right.
And a lot of it is kind of vague setup. And yeah, it's I'm interested, but there's not a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Um, I
So,
don't know.
okay, let's drift on to the news segment because there's some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got about four stories here. All right, let's start it with something you probably know more about than me. We can talk about Power Rangers
Mm.
first.
Yes. Let's talk about Disney was thinking about doing something with the brand again and making a new show to be a Disney Plus exclusive, and now it's been canceled, which really fucking sucks because Power Rangers is in like a complete limbo right now. Um, after the end of Cosmic Fury and kind of sadly like right after the 30th anniversary special Once and Always.
Yeah,
Um,
because like I'm looking at the Deadline
um,
article here. Like, luckily Disney does not have the exclusive rights to Power Rangers. It's still owned by Hasbro, so they could
no,
potentially
who
take them wherever they want to go with it. Just
right.
that Disney is pulled
Hasbro
out.
has unfortunately put the franchising, like instead of just making more shows like they did when they initially got it, just keeping it moving, they've put it in like this weird limbo. They've given off the toy rights to fucking Playmates, just odd. They tried to do like a remastered version of Mighty Morphin,
Wait, what?
to just sell the same show to kids.
Why would
I don't
Hasbro
know.
give the toy rights away? They're Hasbro, a toy company.
I don't know, but for some reason, fucking Playmates makes the Power Rangers toys right now.
What a random
Playmates,
choice.
I know.
Even as somebody who actually likes their Star Trek stuff, that's a weird
Right.
choice.
And it's all basically just like reproduction, like slightly cheaper reproductions of Mighty Morphin toys.
Yeah, that's basically what Playmates
Um,
does. That's Playmates' whole bag.
yeah,
Is they use stuff
yeah,
very cheap.
yeah. It's really weird right now. The only thing that's really happening in Power Rangers right now is the Boom Studios comic books. That as far as I know are still going on and have not been
Mhm.
halted. But other than that, like the franchise is in a really weird limbo, and this cancellation certainly doesn't help with that. I hope something will work out, but it's yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, yeah. We also
Um,
got this. We also got this comic book resource article
mm,
on Paramount's like future of Star Trek. So
yes, we finally have some information on the future of Star Trek. It's not a lot, but it's pretty vague, but it's vague but hopeful, I think.
right, it sounds like from this executive they are looking through ideas from shows. They are looking actively
Yes, they're
looking.
talking to. they're talking to writers, they're looking at pitches, they're trying to figure out what the next TV show is going to be. They're not putting it they're not putting it on ice. It is going to continue. It is quote unquote important to them.
Right.
They're just looking through stuff right now. They just don't have anything figured out, which I think is fair enough.
It seems
It's
like they
fine.
might be doing some movies, at least one movie, till they can figure some
Yes,
stuff out.
there is a movie in development, which is the only thing that is like really moving, and they're still trying to figure out where to take the TV side of it next.
Which I got no problem with that. I want them to take their time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind getting a movie to tide us over. It's been a long time since we've had a theatrical movie.
I just don't want Star
Um,
Trek to go the line that Doctor Who is right now. Doctor Who is basically dead right now. There is nothing happening with Doctor
yes,
Who.
I don't want it to get so caught up in like behind the scenes stuff that it's basically dead. But them taking their time, I think is fine. I'm glad they're not completely putting it on ice.
Because
Probably not.
at least Paramount is
Mm,
actively looking. From what I understand, the
right.
BBC doesn't even care right now.
Yeah. I do want to like sort of temper some people's expectations a little bit. I highly doubt it's going to be a direct continuation of anything. At least like of any specific previous series. I don't think they're going to
They might do like
suddenly.
another thing in the Lost era or something for all I know. Like, oh.
That could be cool, but what I mean is like I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're
There's not
gonna
gonna
like
be a DS9 movie or a Voyager movie.
no, but that I'm not even talking about 90s stuff. Like if anybody is hoping like I unfortunately I'm not expecting like Lower Decks season 6 or Prodigy
No,
season 3 or
no,
something like that.
they are done. They are in the
Unfortunately,
can. Prodigy has been
right?
fully written off as a tax write-off.
Which really fucking sucks, and I'm really mad because I fucking love that show and it's really good and it deserved a third season.
I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it one day. Maybe I'll watch it one day.
You should watch it. You will have to at least watch the first like episode slash or two maybe when we do because we were thinking of doing a retrospective on Star Trek pilots.
Right.
So
I will say the
it's really
TOS
good.
one is going to be us watching a lot because the TOS one has like 3 pilots technically.
Right, because we have to do the cage where no man's gone before. The man trap because it's the first one people saw, and then the first episode of the animated series because there's not enough to fit its own
Right.
episode.
I could not talk about the anime series. There is very little of the anime series I could talk about on its own.
Yesteryear is probably the only animated series episode I could talk about like at length.
Right. Oh yeah, and we also got a Star Wars thing we got going on here. It's about Ewan McGregor. He seems to be
Hey,
wanting getting back to Obi-Wan very badly. He really wants to be Obi-Wan.
love that for him. Love that for him. He's great.
I
I
love that Ewan has really latched onto this character. He's really embraced
I
this
agree.
character in a way
I
that
agree. I
Alec Guinness never did.
no. I think I am okay. Like I know people are kind of sick of like nostalgia based Star Wars projects, and I understand that. Me personally though, I'm okay for milking these characters for as long as the actors are eager about it. Let them have fun.
like
I
like like
really
like
don't
like
mind.
like Ewan is not like 90 years old actively
Right,
doing
right. Make
this.
as many Kenobi seasons as he wants.
I
I
know, I
don't.
know.
It'll be fine.
It feels like
Make
he
as
actually
many.
wants to
Make it
do this because I'm gonna be honest. I
right.
don't know how much Patrick Stewart really wanted to do Picard.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because he's still relatively young. He can still do this. I mean, the
Right.
guy. Look, I've seen a recent picture of the guy. He does not look that old at all. Like he looks like he's barely aged
Mm-mm.
since the 2000s.
He's doing great.
Yeah,
He's doing great. And Hayden Christensen seems to be pretty excited about
yeah,
getting to play Anakin here and there
yeah.
when he does. Tamora Morrison
I
has really embraced Boba Fett.
right,
Daisy Ridley is still interested in playing
right.
Rey again at some point.
Wherever that will go, which no word on that. Disney is just kind of
Mm.
like, we have no idea what to do.
Yeah. The new Jedi Order movie seems to be in limbo at the moment.
And
And we don't know anything about like.
there are rumors that
Mm,
Ewan might show up in a flashback for Ahsoka season 2. So
I'll be down for that.
we might get Clone Wars Obi-Wan like we got Clone Wars Anakin.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
So
I do
so
think that flashback in Ahsoka is really funny in a kind of fucked up way because it like they found the perfect actress. Like they really highlights how young Ahsoka was when she was like drafted into a war. Like to see it in live action, like oh my god, that's a child.
so this thing that Ewan is pitching, he has actively gone to
Mm,
Disney and like
mm,
pitched his own Star Wars show.
mm.
He wants to have like another miniseries. I guess technically it would be season 2 of Obi-Wan maybe, of like him going to Dagobah and tracking down Yoda and trying to reconnect with him, which
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if
I
that's
think it could be a fun like six to eight episode miniseries. I could be okay with that. That could be a fun premise. It'd be interesting to see if he will, because inevitably it's going to have to return to the status quo. So it'd be interesting to see if he would find Yoda and then have to leave again, or if he would not find Yoda and the journey turns
right,
out to have
right,
been the real story all along.
right. I think the key part takeaway here is more than just the pitch. It's the pitch that Ewan is actively extremely excited about being in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Which even after all the fandom shit, I am surprised. Like,
yeah,
because I'm just gonna straight up say, the Star Wars fandom is kind of fucked these days.
they're really awful.
So I'm surprised he still wants to be a part of this. Like George Lucas, he quit a long time ago to get like
Mm.
to avoid this rabid fan base. Like I'm glad that hated Christian is I'm glad he is healed from the prequels hatred. Uh,
Oh yeah,
Jake Lloyd not so much.
yeah, poor guy. I also appreciate how supportive the old actors are of the new actors.
Right, right, right,
Like
right,
Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen both stood behind Moses
right,
Ingram quite a
right.
bit when they were making Kenobi season one, and I think that that's very good, especially
Yep.
with all the horrible racist harassment she got.
Yeah, it's just like I don't get Star
Star Wars
Wars fans
fans.
sometimes.
Oh.
Like say what you want about Star Trek fans, at least Star Trek fans are mostly all there. They're mostly all there.
Mostly.
Oh, and one thing I really wanted to talk about.
Hmm.
You read this like bleeding cool article about DC Comics, right?
Mm, what's it about?
It's about DC like overtaking the majority market share of the comics industry.
Got it.
Because one thing we don't talk enough about on the show, I know, because comics are not the most
Mm.
accessible medium these days, is about like comics themselves. We talk a lot about comic inspired things or comic
Right,
adaptations,
right, right.
but like the actual comic industry, despite not being as big as it used to be, is still around. So very much around.
Yeah.
And this kind of gives a breakdown of like the comics industry, which I thought was very
Mm,
fascinating. So,
yeah.
so the news is that DC now is the majority. It has overtaken Marvel again, which Marvel and DC they go back and forth about who is the majority,
Right.
and it seems like a lot of their
I
boost
think
has
it.
been
I think it.
from Absolute.
Right. I was gonna say. I think it makes sense that this is the way that it is with how successful the Absolute Universe has been.
Like I know we have a mutual acquaintance who does not like some things about the Absolute, but I think
Mm.
the Absolute as a whole has been a success. Like I think most people have liked it. Because like the way they
I have not read through all of the books yet. I need to. I did read through all the new Ultimate Universe, which I thought was overall very strong, and I think it's unfortunate that it was cut so short by Marvel.
right.
But I do need to look through the Ultimate stuff.
Because we got like a chart here that like breaks everything down. DC Comics own 38.82% of the market, and next up is Marvel
Mm.
with
Makes
35.17% of the
sense.
market. And number 3, Image, obviously. But Image is so much lower than the big two. It is 13.14%.
Yeah, they're a pretty distant third ultimately.
And like the rest, like fourth is Who Do You Expect? IDW, obviously.
That
is
definitely makes sense.
number 4 with 3.54, which that's a big decrease from Image to IDW. And then after
Part of
that,
it is that Image through their Skydance imprint, got the Transformers comic license away from
right,
IDW, who had it for
which
years and
which
years and years.
which
That
I
might
know
be
was their big
part
thing.
of that.
Like I knew that was
Oh
the big
yes,
thing.
and the Skybound Transformers comics have been quite popular, so I imagine
Right,
that's a pretty big shift
right.
for IDW.
And number 5
IDW has started
is
making Godzilla comics again more consistently. They that went quiet
right.
weirdly for a few years, but
I know number 5. I was not expecting. It's Dynamite, which is interesting. I don't know much about Dynamite
oh yeah, they're
comics.
still around. Yeah, I would not have expected them to be number 5. I don't know a lot about them. I would have expected like Boom Studios to be number 5.
Well, number 6 is Dark Horse, which is not a big surprise. I expect them to
Oh
be.
right, keep forgetting that Dark Horse is still around.
They still do their. IDW may have taken their crown, but they still do some. But they still do licensed things.
Right.
And then Boom Studios is number 7. And then number 8 is Ignition Press with 1.49%.
Right.
Which is interesting. I've never heard of Ignition Press.
Yeah.
And then number 9 is Titan Comics. You've ever heard of those guys? I only know them for one specific reason.
Uh-huh.
It's because in the UK they make the Doctor Who comics. So Titan Comics seems to be pretty niche overall.
Oh, right. I was thinking Titan. No. I was thinking Titan Magazine. They did like some Transformer stuff, like some time stuff for the Michael Bay movies, but I don't think those are the same.
Yeah, Titan Comics' big license is Doctor Who, which I hate to say it, as a Doctor Who fan, Doctor Who is pretty niche outside the UK. Like, it's just one thing that I do have to remind other Doctor Who fans is outside the UK, Doctor Who is not popular. It hasn't been popular in like a decade outside the UK.
Yeah. It's probably even more niche than Star Trek in America.
It definitely is more niche than Star Trek in America. Because at least Americans know what Star Trek is. Because like at least Americans have like some idea of Star Trek as like a cultural thing. I don't think many Americans would know what that Doctor Who is. And if they did know Doctor Who, they would probably think of like the Tom Baker Doctor, probably.
Yeah, probably.
It's like, is that the guy with the scarves?
Or the David Tennant?
David Tennant,
the one that was popular when Super Hulock happened.
That'd be 11. Be 11. That would be Matt Smith. He was the popular one. He was the Tumblr sexy man guy.
Yeah.
Because it is like interesting how like Doctor Who fans can be kind of blindsided by how unknown the franchise is outside of the UK, especially UK Doctor Who fans who are like, oh, Doctor Who, that's as big as Star Trek. It's not as big as Star Trek. It's not.
No.
It may be the Star Trek of the UK. But, all the thing. And the number 10 is Massive Publishing, which I have heard about. I know Massive's kind of a new kid on the block here. I have heard a few things about Massive Publishing.
I don't think I've heard anything about them. Wow.
I know they're pretty new, which is why they're at the bottom, probably. Basically, the article goes over the reasons why, the Absolute has actually had a pretty good response from people, and people are actually buying the comic, which is important.
Right.
Which, to think about, take your mind back to the 90s. Back to the 90s, when a 500,000 selling comic would have been a failure. And now it's a massive success.
Yeah, because you had huge stuff like Uncanny X-Men #1, which I think I have a reprint of somewhere.
And these days, nothing reaches 500,000 anymore in sales. Oh yeah, and there's the
Right.
fact that Diamond has like a 100% monopoly on the comics industry now, on the distribution. Diamond is like the total distributor because every other comic
Uh,
distributor is just
got
gone.
it.
So basically, every comic publisher has to go through Diamond to distribute,
Hmm.
which is kind of nuts and probably should be illegal. Yeah, I was like, this is how it is. All right, anything else you would like to bring up?
Yeah. Let me think. Um, trying to think if there's any other news of consequence. Um, I think so.
Okay, is that all we are we gonna wrap up today then?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can wrap up.
All right, all right. This has been the Nerd Out Podcast. This has been JB, and
Mm.
hope to see you next week. This has been the Nerd Out Podcast, an independent pop culture podcast. We are not endorsed by Paramount, Disney, Warner Brothers, or any other corporate entity. Our views are strictly our own. And thank you to Spotify creators for powering this podcast. Thank you.